Hey there! Welcome back to Hold and Modify, YouTube's most poorly produced, underproduced Amiga channel. And it is Q here once again. Gonna just be talking about some stuff, things I like to talk about, things you might be interested in, things you might not be interested in. Appreciate if you stick around. If you don't want to, that's cool too. You know, not everyone wants to listen to some dude ramble on about stuff that doesn't exist anymore, right? So today's topic is to answer some user questions. This is actually some questions that came up. You can use the email. So by the way, hey Q, how do I contact you? I'll tell you how in just a second. Cue the intro, Q.
This computer will rule the world.
All right, so how you can contact me? Well, look, there's a couple ways you can do it. If you're in the Commodore Amiga Facebook group or the Amiga Art Contest Facebook group, those are some pretty common some popular Facebook groups. I'm in those, okay? So if you ever want to just chat in there, join those groups. I know some of you don't like Facebook though. That's not your thing. It's not anything you're interested in. I totally understand. The other way you can, of course, you can just leave a comment down below. You can drop a comment down below, and I do go through the comments, and my channel is not a big channel, so the comments are manageable. I can get through most of them in a reasonable amount of time. Then the other way, this is only going to work, by the way, if you're using the desktop version of YouTube. I don't think it works. At least I've not been able to see it working with the application version of YouTube. So like if you're using an app version, whether it's the Android or iOS, or even if you're using the app version of YouTube on a desktop, you actually have to go, that's right, to good old-fashioned, like the YouTube desktop app. And there you can go to the About tab for my channel, and you'll see a thing that says like, hey, click here to go to his email address so you can email him. And you'll get an email address there that you can click and email it. Yeah, it's most likely going to go to spam, but I do check, and I do check spam. So because I know people will email me, and that's where it'll go, right? So what I want to talk. By the way, the program we're looking at right now is Vista Pro 3.0. This has nothing to do really with what I'm talking about. I just want to have something up on the screen that's Amiga related and sort of fun. You might get a kick out of while I'm blabbling about what I'm about to talk about. And that is the question of that's just brown. That's just brown. Okay. It looks like a boob. That is the question of Lightwave, Newtek, and Amiga. And what happened? See, look right there. See that right there? That was the little brown boob we're looking at. I'm going to move my camera over here. Why did Newtek give up on the Amiga? Some have said, like, even before Commodore announced that they were shutting down, Newtek was already like, no, we're done. We're going to go over to PC full-time now because they're super fast and awesome. And the Amiga was a great way to start, but yeah, no more. We're done with that. Newtek had moved on. They were definitely moving on. They knew that Amiga, even if somehow Commodore was going to keep going, there was just the speed. Newtek, being a software company, being an innovative company who's always looking forward and marching forward, they knew that this PC platform was quickly developing into the system that was going to be the way to go. It had the memory, the bus support, the hard drives, and the CPU power, most importantly. And the 3D division especially, yeah, so they were pretty much like the performance we're getting out of these Pentium Pros and these SGI machines, the DEC Alphas, the Intergraph machines. Wow, they're pretty freaking intense. Like it was, I hate to say it, but it was pretty obvious that the Amiga, while awesome, yeah, you could put a 6840 in it. And right about that time is when the 68060 started popping up, and if you were super rich, you could get one of those. I mean, you have to keep in mind, even back then, I know we've gone through the era of Amiga prices were really expensive, and then the Amiga went away, so the prices got really cheap on eBay and whatnot, and now the prices are back up again, right? But back in the day, to get a 68060 accelerator for the Amiga with no memory on it and no SCSI controller, you were looking at like $600, $900, okay? Then you want to add in the memory and the SCSI controller. Oh my gosh, I mean, you're up to like $1,500, and I mean, even back then, you could build a whole PC for like $2,000. I'm talking like a Windows 95, 64 megs of RAM, an all-32 card, Matrox Millennium video card with 4 megs, a enhanced IDE hard drive with, maybe, gosh, 600 megabytes on it. Yeah, for like $2,000. And yes, of course, games, right? A lot of people like to play games, even on Windows, of course. So you have this multimedia machine that you could play with. And then on top of that, you've got a machine that plays really awesome games. So Newtek saw what was happening there with the amazing EC systems that were coming out. It was becoming pretty obvious to them that, well, there's no reason to stay with the Amiga anymore. We're not going to kill it. We're not going to kill it. There were some updates. There was, when they came out with 5.0, they did come out with a couple patches so that you weren't just completely left in the wind with it. And then there was even like a beta. There was the famous, whatever happened to the 5.5 beta for Amiga? I mean, it's long gone, folks. I've talked to everybody out there, and it's just not happening. It just doesn't exist. It's not really available out there, and I hate to say it. It just, you got to bury that dream. It's not going to happen. There's no 5.5 for the Amiga. Maybe if somebody can reverse engineer the Amiga version, we could have some luck with that, but I just don't think so. So Newtek, started to shift away from Amiga. And then, of course, Commodore and all of their glory went out of business. Like, that's what happens when you have idiots running the company, not the people working for it. The people working for it did a really good job and they tried their best. It was the fact that there was just morons in charge and people that really only cared about getting the money, making the money, and cashing out and running away with the money. And hey, that's capitalism, right? So that happened. And once that happened, that pretty much sealed the fate, definitely for any Amiga development, because now Newtek was like, why are we going to spend any development time? Why are we going to spend any, effort on this Amiga version? It's a dead platform. There's no reason for it. It's just a dead platform. So that's why they stepped away from it. They just said, there's nothing we can do with this system anymore. So we appreciate the Toaster 2000, the Toaster 4000. These machines, little trees down there, little blobby little green trees. Oh, they're so cute. These systems, yeah, they supported us. They helped make the company. I mean, Newtek, they had their scanner that they had with the little black and white camera and the color wheel. They had Digipaint, and then they went on, of course, to the Toaster. The Toaster was their big deal, and what really brought them home, to be the big Goliath that they would become with that stuff. Yeah, you can type a number higher than 100, by the way, if you didn't know that here. Just put it in. And I'm doing that because I want to get more trees. So, yeah, that was it. They had to step away. People were still doing amazing things with the Amiga and Lightwave long after Newtek had abandoned them, but it wasn't anything nasty. It wasn't like Newtek was like, oh, Commodore sucks. It was just a natural shift, a natural move away from the hardware to the newer systems. And I know it's a little controversial to say this. This is kind of the point of this whole little babbling I'm doing here. And I said it earlier, even if Commodore managed to figure something out, or if somebody bought them, if Atari bought them, or let's be stupid, let's say Microsoft bought them for some reason, I don't know. If somebody bought them and decided to make like a creative graphics computer wing, like their own new version of SGI, I don't think it would have mattered. I think we'd still be in a situation where a company like Newtek and others like them, Cinema 4D, Caligari, all those others that were out there, I still think they would have just moved on, because when it comes down to it, people are going to plop down $1,500. They're going to plop down, $2,000 for a computer system. They want the Lightwave program to crash when they set the content directory. That's what you want to do. It's kind of like a way to refresh the memory and clear it out. Yeah, that's basically the gist of my story, my little ramble here. I just wanted to say that no, I don't think the software failure is a problem on the Amiga. I think it's very attractive. It looks like the old Red Alert from Star Trek. Anyway, I don't think Newtek is to blame. I don't think it's like they abandoned and left. Some people like, well, companies like Newtek who left Amiga, or why Amiga went out of business. Absolutely not. I don't think that's the case at all. They simply reacted to the market, and they went into the land of PC and had great success. They did great and wonderful things, and I'm thankful for all the stuff they've done, and I'm thankful that we still have Lightwave even around to this day in 2023. I know I said I would show more modern Lightwave stuff on this channel, and I don't want to make another sub channel. This YouTube channel is nowhere near big enough to bother with a sub channel, but I do have playlists. So you all know that I have playlists, and you can see those playlists and you can go through those. I have like Lightwave Windows versions. I have Lightwave Amiga versions. I have personal videos in that playlist. This is really interesting, isn't it? This just keeps crashing on my network share. Wow. I'm going to have to dive into that someday. Anyway, that was it. Just my little ramble about my thoughts on Newtek and Amiga and what happened there and why they may have left or the reasons they may have left. And I hope you enjoyed me rambling and playing around in Vista Pro and making Lightwave crash, which I think's kind of, I don't know, ironic or paroditic. Paroditic? Is that a word? Parody? Like a parody? I'm parodying Lightwave as I'm talking about it because it's crashing? Oh, I don't know. All right, I'm done with this video.